What do you say we make a wish?
I know what my wish is. No more water skiing. How about yours?
Can't tell you, Bumblebee, because then it won't come true.
Welcome to Professor M's Matrix Reviews, again for another figure review. Today we're going to go ahead and be looking at a Titan's Return figure, and this Titan's Return figure is the deluxe figure size line, and it is Seaspray. So the figure comes in the standard blister packaging. My blister packaging is quite beat up, but you know, it is what it is. It is an older figure. I got mine from AliExpress, and it did not come shipped the best. This is a figure that recommended for 8+, but we'll see as we go through. We'll take a look at the nice figure. So his packaging overall looks really nice. It features a lot of information about him. Again, mine came with this great sticker on it, which is fantastic. Thank you. Seaspray is supposed to be the naval defense coordinator for the Autobots, as most of the Autobots were land roving vehicles. And so this is one of the branching off points where the Autobots started having some alternate vehicles and really created Seaspray, who was a hovercraft, I guess, which was a combination of going over both land and sea. But looking at the packaging, everything, again, he's got a solid packaging. The photos, everything are really great. I love the fantasy scene information at the top, basically showing that, you know, you probably shouldn't put him in water. He's not going to float. But overall packaging, I'd say he's probably a solid 3.5 out of 5. Let's go ahead and get him out of his packaging here and see what he comes with, and we'll go from there. So let's open him up, and we'll get everything out of this package. I don't want to, well, that's invariable. I have to rip these packaging, sadly. Let's go ahead and take him out here. And his instructions are down there in the bottom, so let's get those out a while. And we'll put his packaging back here out of our way. So let's look at the instructions first. Again, he's a fairly simple figure, so I don't think we'll need these today. But if we need them, they'll be here. So Seaspray overall, pretty simple transformation, not too difficult. Again, covers most of the information about him. Really cool little figure. I always liked Seaspray. He always had the silly voice, which made me laugh as a kid. So let's go ahead and get him out of his prison here and also get his accessories out. So grab me a pair of scissors here to kind of cut his prison free. And there should be one or two more that's holding him in right there across his legs. I see them now. So I got that. I got that. I should let him go. And then we can't forget his little accessory up here, so we'll set that down for now. Let's go ahead and get rid of all these little plastic bits and bobs so that we don't end up having somebody eat them or anything like that. So we got rid of those. I really wish we went to a more environmental friendly packaging, which we had done for a while. We'll put him kind of in the middle here standing. Let's go ahead and get his card out of his package and take a look at what it shows for him. That's one of the things I liked about the Titan's Return series and the Power of the Prime series. They always had these cool little cards and stuff that came with him. So, nice little card to go along with all the other smaller deluxe class. It talks about his different abilities and talks about how he is as a, you know, character. Nice little addition that comes with him. I'll put it back here by his packaging. So there we have Seaspray. So let's go ahead and take a look at the robot mode. He's got a lot of nice detail. The color on him I don't think quite matches the original G1 aesthetic. I think he was a little bit more light blue in the G1 aesthetic. This is a little bit darker. But he does have some nice detail. You know, the Autobot symbol on his chest. He's got some more stickers kind of going down in there. I think if I remember correctly, there was some, yeah, right there on the inside of the arm. He does have some Cybertronian characters on the inside of both of his arms. So it's a little nice feature that they had on him. Everything, though, looks really solid on him. Let's do a quick spin around. Let's get him standing here for us. And we'll do a quick roundabout with him. So overall, he does tend to lean back a little bit, I see. So let's go ahead and get him a little bit more neutral stanced. And now he's leaning forward. But overall, looks nice. He does have that nice coloring to his eyes, so at least you can see. And he does come with, I guess this is supposed to be a blaster. I'm not sure what you would call it. An infrared scanner, a spotlight. But it does come with a little bit. So robot mode, I'm going to say overall, I'm really happy with his robot mode. I'd say probably for that, I'm going to say 3.75 out of 5 for that, for his robot mode. Accessories, he does have his little scanner gun there. That's more than most of the smaller deluxe classes. So I'll give him a 3 on that, because he does come with at least one accessory. Let's go ahead and look at his mobility now. I'm going to take his gun off him for a second, because we're going to take that off anyway for transformation. So let's first of all look at his head. His head does not have much mobility. There's not much getting in there. It does not go up and down. I am pretty sure it does go side to side, because it is on a little bit of a... Yeah, there's a little bit of a rotation side to side. But there's not much... I mean, you're not getting in there unless you have tinier fingers than I have, and I have very large. His shoulders are on ball joints, so we should have full 360 degrees of rotation. We do. We almost have a full 90 degrees of elbow or shoulder abduction, but it kind of gets caught on there. And then with the elbow, we have another ball joint, so we should get over 90 degrees. Yeah, just over 90 degrees of elbow flexion. And we should get a little bit of elbow rotation. Nope, we don't get any. I got some. You can force some elbow rotation, but I would be kind of worried about that. He does have your typical pegs for holding guns there and thing. And if you look right there, there's that small square peg. And that is what this little part of the scanner goes into, and that allows him to hold his little scanner down. Let's get down to the legs. The legs, we've got them on a ball joint as well, but there is virtually no abduction whatsoever. We got some crossover. Hey, look, he can do a little bit of a slide back and forth, but there is almost no abduction. That's a weird choice. I think they just could have shaved that hip just a little bit more to give us some, so he's definitely not got the flexibility there to stand. He does have at least 90 degrees of hip flexion. Let's look going back. Oh, there we go. We can go 90 degrees of hip extension as well. We got that. We do have above the knee rotation, and then we have knee flexion, which goes to a little over 90 degrees. So he's got some good knee flexion. And then no ankle pivot. They do kind of move forward and back, but that's mainly for the transformation more than anything. So he does have fairly decent mobility, but the hip abduction is kind of strange, which is going to limit him in posing. So I'm going to give him a 3.25 out of 5 there and that.
You know the plan. So, if you're really an Autobot, let's transform and move out.
Let's go ahead and look at his transformation. From what I remember, his transformation is fairly simple. So first of all, we're going to go ahead, and if I remember correctly, we're going to take the arms and we're going to bring them up and behind like that. And then we're going to kind of pin everything up. And we're going to rotate his head down. I remember how to rotate his head down. His head just goes down and out of the way. So let's do that here. I thought I remembered his head rotated down. Maybe it doesn't. And then this whole back compartment is just going to rotate up and is going to clip together back here. I thought his head got out of the way. Maybe I misremembered. Or does that shield just come up and block his head? That's kind of what happened. That's what I remember now. Okay. And then the arms themselves are going to come back here and form the back of his pontoons. So they're going to straighten out. And they are going to pin in. You'll see they kind of made up back here. So make sure they're nice and straight. That's one of the keys to him, I remember, is making sure your arms are perfectly straight when you bring them back so they form the rest of his pontoons. Then his feet are going to fold down. This is the rough part that I never liked. And his legs are going to kind of accordion. So he's going to kind of make a flatness out of his legs. And they're going to accordion back. So we're going to fold the knees up. Fold the knees up. And then his feet are going to pin together. Let's get them together here. I'll fold out the rest of his pontoons so that we can connect these together. There we go. And then he's going to kind of rotate back. And then again, we're just going to accordion everything up and back together so that he can meet the rest of his body. It is a little stiff on my figure here, and I don't want to go ahead and break the new figure quite yet. So the legs are going to accordion back and up until they kind of meet like that. There we go. Back and up. The knee is kind of the linchpin of the whole thing. It's very tight. So once we get his knees kind of accordion back and out of the way, and of course one of my propellers fell off. That always happens with him for me. I don't know why. Maybe I'm just a little too ham-fisted with them. But you want to kind of get, see how that leg is nice and flat down there? That's kind of what you want to get out of it, is so that the legs are nice and flat down at the bottom. And then if you see, they'll mate up really nice in the back. So keep going until you get that knee nice and flat and where it's mating up with the rest of the pontoon. And then you're going to squeeze the front of them together. Squeeze this together and make sure everything's nice and meeting up. And there we have Seaspray in his, I guess pontoon boat is not the right word. It's a hovercraft type mode. So Seaspray in his hovercraft. And he looks fairly nice. Looking at him from all angles, I'll move this little thing out of the way and move the scissors out of the way. He looks pretty nice. Overall as a figure, it matches up very nicely. He does have some articulation here, obviously his little fan spin in the back. So overall, his alt mode, I really like it because it's a unique alt mode. I would say that his transformation's probably a 3. There is some finicky parts of it, but I'd give it a 3. And the alt mode, I'd definitely give a 3.75. I really liked Seaspray as an alt mode. He doesn't have any additional alt modes, just a single alt mode. And then the nice thing about him is we have this little light, and we can actually store that on Seaspray so that it can be stored as kind of a light on the front of his character. So a lot of other characters forget accessory storage, so this character gets an accessory storage, and I say definitely we'll give him a 3 for that. Let's talk about mobility now. So I'm going to go ahead and move this out of the way for just a second, but there is nothing on the bottom of him. There's no rollers, there's no nothing. So any mobility or play factor you'd have while sliding him along is going to go ahead and potentially scratch the bottom of your figure. So there's not much for mobility down there. I'm going to give him a 1 in mobility because they could have put smaller wheels or rotations on the bottom there, but they don't do that. As far as fun factor, I really think he's a fun little figure. Again, he's a really reminiscent figure of G1 Transformers. I'd give him a 3.5 on his fun factor just because he is Seaspray and he had that fun gurgly voice in the original cartoon. But overall, his alt really does look nice. It's a nice mixture of colors. The blue and the orange, yellow go together. But let's look at him compared to some other figures. So here he is next to his buddy Windcharger. And then we also have Beachcomber from the last video we did. Here he is standing next to Beachcomber. Beachcomber kind of towers over him when he's standing up. That's standing next to Beachcomber. We'll pull him out. Here he is next to Road Hauler. Again, Road Hauler kind of dwarfs him in size here. Same thing with War for Cybertron, Ironhide. So overall, he's a nice size figure for the mini bots. Let's go ahead. I forgot to measure him in robot form, so we'll go back and do that in just a second here. But in alt form, you know, we're looking at, you know, a little over 4 inches in length and maybe 2 inches. So it's about the same size as most of the other figures if you look, because here's Windcharger, kind of same length, about the same width overall. So they're all pretty consistent in their sizing, which is nice because we've had some sizing, like here we have a deluxe class figure and he's not much larger than the Legends class figure, right? That's Wheeljack. I believe it's War for Cybertron Wheeljack, if I remember correctly. And, you know, here we have another deluxe figure in Legacy Chase, and he's, again, not much bigger than they are. Then we can put him next to some other figures, like here's Jazz. We got him going here. But overall, he scales well. Here he is next to ST-04, totally not 86 Megatron, and Megatron would tower over all of them. But overall, he's a great little figure. This figure review is coming shortly. I like Seaspray, again, him like Beachcomber and like Windcharger had a soft spot in my heart because they were always fairly inexpensive figures growing up. And this was one that you could usually talk your parents into getting for you. You know, they looked at the price of things like Megatron and Optimus Prime, and usually no-goes there. But when it came to these type figures, usually you could talk them into one or two of them, and soon you had your own little Transformer army you could have mini battles with and stuff like that. But overall, I'm really happy with this figure. This figure would be great for anyone who's looking at completing kind of a G1 collection and wants a nice little Seaspray for their collection. I believe there is a new Seaspray that came out, and I'm hoping to get him soon so we can do a comparison. But who's this for again? It's just for somebody who likes the G1 aesthetics and likes the G1 figures. Also maybe who likes the Titans Return series. I don't think he had a large part in the Titans Return series, but again, it was nice to see them release some of the G1 figures for it. So overall, looking at him, I think he rates right alongside Windcharger there overall. I'd say he's a good solid 3.5 out of 5 overall total ranking. So overall, thank you. I'd like to thank you for going and watching this. Please, if you could, down there is the like and subscribe button. Please go ahead, like, subscribe, make some comments for me, give me some interaction. That'd be great. I'd like to get to 100 subscribers by the end of February. Also, if you could, leave me a recommendation. Is there somebody that maybe some of the other Transformers community hasn't reviewed yet that you'd like to see? Is there somebody in this collection here that you'd like to see me do a review on? I'd be glad to. I have many more sitting in the closet, so there'll be more coming. Like I said, ST-04's review is coming as well. So I want to thank you for coming along on this little bit of a journey for me. So please go ahead and subscribe, and maybe next video, I think the next video we have coming might be a Brawn review, if I remember correctly, but thank you very much. Here's Seaspray and his buddies, and Autobots roll out.
Maybe that is all I am, a bunch of transistors and bolts.